Oh, hey.
Hey, thanks for meeting me here on such short notice. This place isn't bugged, is it?
Bugged? Wait, Jamie, what's going on?
It's just, you're my only lawyer friend, and I need your professional opinion. Do you see that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah?
That's all I paid for it.
I think I need to get back to you on that.
Do you know what you want?
Yeah, I do now.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. Get the car or SUV you've always wanted, plus America's best warranty at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. The guilt is real, but so is the savings.
Listen, I don't want to get in your business, but if that's all she paid for it, I'll have what she's having.
It's a great day for a new Hyundai at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event going on now. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on all Hyundai Palisade, Santa Fe, and Santa Fe hybrid models. And check out our other great deals at your Hyundai dealer today. Offer ends September 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
Chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tompley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. I got a text on the text line asking about Damian Ramos. Not injured. I feel like I've answered this 11 bajillion times, but I know not everybody is familiar. So he had a cramp on his plant leg during the kick, the missed field goal. He went back in and kicked the PAT at the end of the game. So Damian Ramos, good to go. Brian Kelly confirmed that earlier today, as we all knew, because he went back in and kicked the PAT at the end of the game. Destyn Hill, however, is not good to go. We're going to get to that here in about 12 minutes from right now. Broke his hand on just the second play of the game. So we'll fill in some of the blanks on that coming up in just a bit. A little bit of breaking news around the New Orleans Saints here today. This coming down the pike just 10 minutes ago. So on Monday, we learned the very surprising news that the Saints were releasing safety JT Gray, one of their special teams aces, their special teams captain. Now we know why, or we know the corresponding move. The Saints have moved Jake Haener to the active roster. So that does, in fact, fill the void left by safety JT Gray. I'm not surprised. I think there's two parts of this. Number one is I'm not surprised that they're adding Haener to the active roster. Because remember, he can be the emergency quarterback on game day, and so long as he doesn't play, you can make up that spot on your actives, on your game day actives, right? So he can be dressed on the sideline, won't count as one of your actives, but in case you need him, he could go in and play. So I get that part of it, that here you're in game week, and so you're going to activate Jake Haener as a just in case. That makes sense, right? I mean, the new NFL rule allows for this. When you can have the emergency quarterback dressed on game day. Makes sense. What I don't think makes sense is why you released JT Gray to sign the emergency quarterback to the active roster. I'm not going to pound the table to be really mad about this because I don't know that that's necessary. I could hear the argument for letting go of JT Gray if it was to sign someone to the active roster at a position where you were really thin and you were going to need depth, the offensive line, the defensive backfield, places like that would make sense, right? Trevor Penning, we think he's going to be good to go, but he's been dealing with a toe injury. How healthy is he? We'll see. We already know you've lost Will Clapp, you've lost Nick Saldiveri, you've had some injuries there that's affected your depth. So if there was a good lineman available that you wanted to sign to the active roster to give you some depth on game day, great. That makes sense. As opposed to having JT Gray, who's probably not going to help you in the defensive backfield. He's a really good special teams player. Still is a really good special teams player. But is only going to affect a few plays in the game on special teams. Whereas giving depth on offense or defense could affect an entire series, a half, based on whatever might happen throughout the course of the game. I guess it begs the question, what's more valuable, having Jake Haener as an emergency quarterback or having JT Gray as the guy that's going to make all your tackles on special teams? My opinion would be that I'd rather have JT Gray make all the tackles on special teams, because if Jake Haener's playing, you're screwed anyway. And maybe that's a defeatist mentality and way of looking at it, but let's just be very honest. This was a guy who you drafted and you just cut after training camp. Now you've brought him back to the practice squad, and this is probably going to be one of those up-down type seasons for Haener, where he signed and then waived and then signed and waived. He'll probably be back and forth to the practice squad and all that sort of stuff throughout the course of this season. But we've also seen what it looks like when Jake Haener has the opportunity to play, and it's just not very good. A season ago, Jake Haener saw action in 8 games. He was 18 for 39, so that's a 46% completion rate. He threw for 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. His rating was a 62.6. He's just not a very good player. Not to say he can't at some point be maybe a serviceable backup, but he's certainly not even that right now. And this is a 2-horse race with Rattler and Shuck, as we well know. So that makes it a little difficult to justify adding him to the active roster. But again, let me rephrase that. I understand adding him to the active roster because of the opportunity to have an emergency quarterback on game day. I get that. Taking JT Gray's spot to add an emergency quarterback, to me, is problematic. I remember years ago when Tom Tupa was punting for the Jets, and they got into a situation where their quarterbacks were hurt, and Tom Tupa had to go play quarterback for the Jets. The punter had to play quarterback for the Jets. As I recall, he was playing quarterback while wearing his punting shoes, which is wild to think. I might have that part of it wrong, but I think I got it right. I remember in the COVID year, there was the practice squad receiver from the Broncos who ended up playing quarterback against the Saints in that season. Ian Book in the COVID year ended up playing starting on a Monday Night Football game for New Orleans. Again, those are super outlier, rare, extenuating circumstances during the COVID year. But the point remains, if you get down to the point where Jake Haener's got to play, you're in a world of trouble anyway. Wouldn't you rather have JT Gray running around making tackles on special teams? Because in a game with Arizona, where you might actually have a chance to win on your home field, a big play here on special teams could tip the field one way or another. It's an interesting decision. We'll see what Kellen Moore has to say about it. But the Saints say farewell to JT Gray, and the corresponding move is signing Jake Haener from the practice squad to the active roster. Another way to think of it is this. After you waived Jake Haener, nobody put in a waiver claim on him. That means, and again, if a team was going to put in a waiver claim, that means they would have had to sign Haener to their active roster. He would have had to take a 53-man roster spot from someone else. And none of the other 31 teams in the NFL thought he was worthy of a 53-man roster spot. Yet here the Saints are bidding farewell to an all-pro and your special teams captain. They wore the C on his jersey for special teams to sign Jake Haener to the active roster. That's curious. But then again, I think the Saints have made a lot of curious decisions with personnel and with the roster. We've talked plenty about it. And maybe the other news of the day with the Saints adding Thomas Dimitroff to the front office, maybe that's to add another veteran set of eyes to this Saints front office. If you missed this news, so Thomas Dimitroff, who was the longtime Falcons GM, he was there for 13 years and actually was the guy who is really responsible in the front office for building that roster around Matt Ryan for all those years that went to a Super Bowl. And they had more wins than losses. He after being fired in Atlanta, Dimitroff has kind of gone into media and consulting. He's got a podcast that he does called the GM Journey podcast. He actually interviewed Mickey Loomis on it a couple of years ago. But it is an interesting trend that the Saints are following here because they keep hiring former GMs. Like former Raiders GM Dave Ziegler was on the Saints staff as a consultant last year and left for a position with the Titans this year. Mickey Loomis also has Jeff Ireland, who's a former GM on staff, Randy Mueller, who's a former Saints GM, who was Loomis's boss at one point, on staff as well. So it's interesting that you keep having these former NFL general managers join your staff in these support roles, but to what end and how much autonomy do they have? I guess the questions to ask are twofold. Number one, in hiring Dimitroff, are you potentially hiring Mickey Loomis's replacement? Or number two, is Mickey Loomis just hiring yes men, his friends in the business that are going to tell him what he wants to hear? Such an interesting time in New Orleans with the Saints because it's the first time in a decade and a half that they're just not expected to be in any way competitive as they go through this rebuild and what this may look like. But Thomas Dimitroff has been added to the Saints front office as a consultant. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Man, I always enjoy when I get to visit with my buddies over at First South Farm Credit and learn more about their business and how they help people and to hear stories. And, Tim told me a story one time that if you finance land with First South Farm Credit and let's say rates go down or something like that, and they can modify your rate and get you a better rate and save you money, they'll actually call you they'll alert you of this. And Tim was telling me one time he told one of their customers that the guy kind of called BS on it. And about a year later, sure enough, rates came down, some things in the market moved, and he was able to call and say, "Hey, by the way, we can save you X on your payments a month by doing this, blah blah." And the guy was like, "Holy crap! You actually did this." They're amazing. They're great local people. They've been around since 1916, helping Louisianians buy land. So why would you do business with anyone else? It's First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. You can email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. We appreciate you for being there. Sean Salisbury's coming up in hour 3. We'll talk plenty of quarterbacks. Got to get his thoughts, not only on the day that Jared Nussmeier had, but what about the Arch hype and subsequent melt? We'll do all that. And I got to get his thoughts on Rattler, Shuck, Haener, this whole thing as NFL Week 1 is upon us. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We're brought to you by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. When we come back, we'll circle back to Brian Kelly's press conference earlier today. A wide receiver, Destyn Hill, broken hand, but they think he'll be back by Florida. We've got to dive into this. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR.
All right, I've told you about Darren James for 15 years. Number one realtor in the state of Louisiana. Nobody sells more homes. I've told you the stats. You know it. You get it. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. That's the website. The reason I want to stress that today is because just a week ago, Darren unveiled the newly redesigned Agent225.com. And there's so many cool features. For example, when you scroll down on the homepage, you could search by area. East Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge, Ascension, Livingston, Iberville. Just click on whatever parish, and you'll see right there. If there's certain amenities you're looking for, you want a home on a golf course community, you want a home with a pool, you could very easily just click one of those and it'll narrow your search immediately for you. The other awesome thing, you know how much your home is worth? There's an appraisal tool at agent225.com where you can get your home's appraisal in less than 30 seconds. As quickly as you can type your home address, you can have it. It's at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
It really turns her on. She's always staring at me.
Remember, you got a new Sunshine location coming to Piku soon in Baton Rouge. The new overpass right there. If you're passing by it on I-10, you can see that new construction. That's the newest Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Official partner of LSU Athletics. No Brian Kelly press conference on Monday as a result of Labor Day. So on Tuesday, Brian Kelly took to the podium. And one of the things that I wanted to know was an update on Destyn Hill. This probably caught a lot of people by surprise that Destyn Hill started for LSU against Clemson. The Florida State transfer, the New Orleans native. And when you return Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas and Chris Hilton and you bring in Nick Anderson and Barry Brown, was just awesome throughout fall camp. It probably was surprising for a lot of people that Destyn Hill started the game. Now, Destyn Hill started, but he played just 2 snaps. And I was told it was an upper body injury. Well, on Tuesday, I asked Brian Kelly for an update on Destyn Hill. Here's what he said.
Yes, he has a fractured left hand. He had surgery yesterday. We put a plate in it to stabilize it. He'll be out this week. We think that we can get him in a position where next week he can be in a limited capacity for us. So the plate stabilizes it to the point where we can put a cast on it that allows him to function as a wide receiver. So although disappointed that he won't play this week, he's pretty excited that he'll get a chance to get back out on the field next week.
First of all, let's pause for a moment and remember, Destyn Hill has been through a lot. I mean, he's a really good prospect. Had some personal things happen in his life that kept him away from football. Finds his way to Florida State. Had a season-ending knee injury. Overcomes that. Transfers to LSU. And has been outstanding both in spring and in fall camp, primarily as a blocker and a very physical receiver. And now in the first game, 2 plays in, this happens. So I can understand the disappointment for a guy that's gone through a lot of adversity, off the field and on, to suffer this kind of injury and how disappointing that would be. Then to get the news, though, that, look, man, you put a plate in that thing, sit out for a week, maybe just a pain tolerance type deal, and they can get out there and he can run and play a little bit in a limited capacity, as you heard Brian Kelly say. That's got to be at least somewhat of a relief. There's one play in particular from fall camp that sticks in my mind about Destyn Hill. And, man, he was running a crossing route. He caught it, and whoever the defensive back was, I'm blanking on it right now, and I don't want to call the wrong name and embarrass someone who isn't worthy of the shame. But Destyn Hill had just like a grown man versus little kid moment where he just one hand shoved the defensive back off of him onto the ground. And it kind of is illustrative of Destyn Hill's role in this offense. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that has 5, 6, 7 catches in a game. He's not going to be the guy that scores the 65-yard touchdown. That's just not his role. Destyn Hill's role in this offense, I believe, is to replace what they lost with C.J. Daniels a year ago. Remember, Daniels, who incidentally had the catch of the weekend in college football for Miami, the one-handed catch at the end of the first half near the goal line. But C.J. Daniels was sort of a security blanket for Garrett Nussmeier, and he was their best blocking wide receiver a year ago. Well, Daniels, while a fantastic blocker and very much a team guy, had been a 1,000-yard receiver at Liberty. He's very capable of running routes and catching the ball, But what LSU lacked a year ago was the vertical threat. And Daniels wanted the opportunity to go somewhere where he could be more integral in the pitch and catch game. So he goes to Miami, where he's catching passes from Carson Beck, and that's probably a good decision for him. Okay, well, LSU needed to replace that in the offense. Like, to Brian Kelly's credit, he knows what he wants in an offense. Like, Brian Kelly will always feature a tight end. So when Mason Taylor has gone to the NFL draft and they need that guy,
Mason Taylor!
They go get Bauer Sharp. And Bauer Sharp has 5 catches, which tied for the team lead and had the most targets in the game. Why? Because this offense is going to utilize the tight end. Well, Brian Kelly also wants a physical receiver who can block. By the way, on Tuesday, Brian Kelly was asked about the wide receivers and their help in the run game. This was before he even talked about Destyn Hill.
The receivers have been talked about so much about their playmaking ability, and they certainly have it. And they have it in loads, but they block their tails off. And that's another indication of a selflessness to we need to run the football. And we can't run it unless we're getting guys blocking downfield. And we did. And I know this is not the sexy stuff that you guys want to talk about, but winning on the road is hard against the top 5 team, and you got to do the little things the right way.
So he's looking for receivers that can help in the blocking game. If Destyn Hill has a cast on his left hand, he's probably not going to be catching a lot of balls. They're probably not going to be targeting Destyn Hill a bunch with a club on one hand. And I don't know what it'll look like, if it's a hard cast or whatever. We'll see. But if you're looking for your most physical receiver to get out there and throw weight around and move bodies and be physical in the running game and blocking downfield, and he's able to do that, as Brian Kelly said, in a limited capacity, his words, not mine, then you have a guy, even with a club on his hand, who might be able to help you in some capacity doing that, and a guy that's battled through a lot of adversity and will have an opportunity to be dressed and out on the field. And you ask yourself the question, like, it doesn't matter for this weekend. In a non-conference game, you can dress as many as you want. But when you get to SEC games and you're limited on how many you can dress and travel, you ask yourself the question, is it worth having Destyn Hill with a club on one hand or another receiver take his spot? And if the answer is Destyn Hill with a club on one hand, that makes you better, then you're going to run him out there with a club on one hand. See how effective he can be. It's a bummer of an injury, but the good news is that they do expect that he'll be back out there. As Brian Kelly said, they're hoping that he'll be back out there for Florida coming up a week from Saturday. So he'll miss the Tech game and then be out there for Florida a week from Saturday. It's also worth noting that the guy who took those reps for Destyn Hill was Nick Anderson. So Nick Anderson, the big receiver, the transfer from Oklahoma, who's the blow the top off the defense type guy, is also 6'4", 208. And in the opener against Clemson, Nick Anderson played 24 snaps and was out there. 13 of those 24 snaps were plays where he was run blocking. So you heard Brian Kelly say those guys in the running game blocked their tails off. Nick Anderson is another example of a veteran player who has bought into what this team needs him to do. I have no doubt, missing all last year with that quad injury at Oklahoma was disappointing. He comes to LSU looking for an opportunity to be a big playmaking receiver again to show off for the NFL scouts. I have no doubt there at some point this year he will get that opportunity. But in this game, when Destyn Hill went out with injury, they needed a big wide receiver, 6'4", 208, to go throw weight around and help block a little bit. And Nick Anderson was willing to do that. And I'm sure that's part of what Brian Kelly was intimating there in his comment about the receivers blocking their tails off. So it might sound like coach speak, but I do think there are layers of truth to this, where he got guys on this team, some of the veterans who are back, and then obviously who they added via the portal, who are veteran dudes that are bought in for what they're asking them to do. And it's just really evident. He talked about, like, I think this is number 4, where he talked about the plays that were made on defense were made because of the selflessness of other guys who didn't get the headlines. I think that's it. Hit it?
I think it's easy to see energy and passion, and those things are important. Just working is not good enough. You have to have passion in what you do. And one of the things that stands out is there's a lot of passion on that defensive side of the ball. And with that passion is guys being selfless. I'll give you an example. Harold's play at the end of the game. He doesn't make that play unless our end, Patrick Pavement, gives himself up inside the C gap to collapse the tackle so we can get the wraparound. And that happened pretty much the entire game. And that's what Blake has been harping on. That's what we've been talking about in terms of how you play team defense. You first have to have a passion because you got to run, hit, you got to get excited. But then you got to do your job, not somebody else's job.
He also gave an example of P.J. Woodland on the sack. That sack for P.J. Woodland opened up because Jack Pyburn, a senior player who transferred here to be more involved in the pass rush game, gave himself up by crashing inside, which opened the lane for Woodland to get the sack. That's kind of what you're seeing with a lot of these dudes on this team, and it's impressive that it's coming from the transfers. Again, it doesn't look like they only went and spent money on good players at positions of need. They certainly did that, but good players at positions of need who are bought into a team concept because they want to win. All these guys are here for two reasons. They made money, and they know they got a chance to win big. So we'll follow the Destyn Hill progress and see if he'll be back out there for Florida. But maybe it's Nick Anderson, someone else who takes those reps this weekend against Louisiana Tech. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Hey, love telling you about Parrish Construction and Roofing. I want to remind you today, I've told you for a long time about fortified roofing. If you're not familiar, fortified roofing, I'll simplify it. It adds an extra layer of security to your home. So in the event that you have storm damage, it really is designed to prevent water intrusion. That's where a lot of the big-time claims, insurance claims come. Not just when you have roof damage, but then when you have water intrusion, now you're talking about, replacing sheetrock and decking and the contents of your home. So it's tremendously helpful if you could, even in a storm where there's roof damage, can prevent other damage to them. That's the design of a fortified roof. Anyway, the Louisiana Department of Insurance is opening up today another round of fortified roofing grants. It's $500, $10,000 grants. They're going to award 500 grants of $10,000. Now, in this round, it's the coastal zones and parts of southwest Louisiana. Those are the areas that are able to apply for this round. When you go apply, you have the option of choosing your contractor. And Parrish Construction and Roofing is a certified fortified roofing company. We were actually the first Louisiana-based certified fortified roofing company. So we would love it if you're going to apply for a fortified roofing grant. If when you have the opportunity to choose your contractor, you would select us, Parrish Construction and Roofing. Listen, be it residential or commercial, repairs, replacements, we do soft washes, we do gutters, we do it all. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. We'd love to help you out. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parrish Construction and Roofing. All right, it's after further review. Sean Salisbury, 30 minutes from right now. We'll look forward to that conversation. There's so much more I want to get into from from Brian Kelly's media availability. He did discuss his decision to kick a field goal at the end of the first half. He did discuss Berrien Brown's touchdown. That wasn't. We'll get into all that and much more as we continue here on AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
After further review.
Clegg's Nursery has been serving our community for 6 decades. I encourage you all the time to bypass the big box stores. Don't go to the big box stores. Support the local retailers that have been great community partners for 60 years. That's Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations. You know where they are. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. And they've got so much to talk about. Hunting season is just about here. They got buckbusters, mow bucks, rice bran, deer corn. They got it all. You're putting your plots out, Clegg's Nursery can help you. Maybe at the home, you're planting your vegetable garden, your fall bedding plants. They got Johnny Naylor's seeds. They got a great selection. You need your gardening tools. They got it. You need decor for your garden, your lawn. They got it at Clegg's Nursery. So get on by and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. We ride back and forth till we run out of light.
Take it to the barn, put it up for the night.
I just got a text on the show text line from Nathan, who said, Matt, will we get a Bama is burning segment today? I need it. LOL. Yenny, you want to take that? You want to handle that? Muse, Paulie?
Yeah, Nathan, we did that yesterday.
Did that yesterday.
Yeah. We didn't miss. We were here working our fingers to the bone, and Matt was screaming and red-faced.
Careful now. Calling me red-faced while I was dressed up like an Indian. They might get you. Cancel culture's coming after you, Muse. That's a slur.
I didn't even think about that.
I know you didn't. Racist.
Just because, it's okay to live your life and say things that aren't intended to be rude.
Sounds like you're
and it's
a racist.
not the end of the world.
Sounds like you're a racist.
I'm not.
Sounds like it.
Things aren't always how they sound.
Or maybe they are.
Nah, they're not. That's the point of this whole conversation.
Maybe you need some sensitivity training. To send you to HR there, Muse. We did Bama's Burning yesterday. Not only did we do Bama's Burning in studio, but I did, in fact, man of my word, found a white horse, put on a Warwick Dunn jersey that's been in my attic for probably 20 years, and a headdress. But I have to give a shout. Let me do this. I should have done this yesterday. I have to give a hat tip and a shout and a thank you. So, how all that came together. Because I got asked so many times, bro, where did you find a white horse? It's a very good question. So, hat tip to my buddy Trey Erie, who went to Calicut, played football with Trey, my old teammate. He was 2 years older than me, way better than I ever would be. He went and played football at Memphis, and just a generally awesome guy. So Trey called me on Sunday, or texted me on Sunday, he's like, hey, do you really need a white horse? I'm like, does the Pope poop in the woods? Yeah, of course I do. What?
I don't think that's where the Pope poops.
It's the saying.
That's not the saying at all.
Just go with it. Yes, I need a horse. He's like, hey, Aaron Honore, they got horses. So Aaron and Trey Honore, Trey, who used to work here, the Hammer. Many people affectionately know the Hammer. Now works at Lipsy's. Awesome. So I was 2000 at Catholic. Trey was 01. Aaron was 02. The Honores, their parents, own horses. And I'll be damned, they got a white horse. So Mr. Honore was like, come on. So Monday morning, Labor Day, 10 a.m., your boy is rolling up to Mr. Honore's place, and he's got the white horse ready to go. I think the white horse's name was...
Renegade. It's Renegade.
Renegade? Let's go with
Renegade.
Let's go with it. Renegade. And he was like, we'll get y'all saddled up and go. He's like, but, back then, the Native Americans were not using saddles. They were barebacked. I was like, okay. So he just threw a blanket over the horse that I hopped on. Now, I did have a step ladder to get up there because your boy wasn't out here trying to get hurt. And he's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to ride? Do you want to sit? Do you want to take a pic? He was good with whatever. I was like, look, I am not here to impress anybody. I don't need to be galloping. I don't need to be like, I don't need that horse kicking its front legs in the air. I don't need none of that in my life. I just need to make sure I execute this video and I get off safely and go on about my day. So, but they were awesome. Hat tip, many, many thanks to the Honores who made that happen. To Trey Erie, who, the headdress, by the way, 1 year for Halloween, Trey, his wife Becca, their kids, they dressed for Halloween as the Village People. So that's how they had the Indian headdress.
You do need that.
It was his wife's headdress from being the Indian and the Village People, which fit me, which is crazy. But I guess like there was like a stretchy part underneath the cap of it anyway. So she had the headdress. So I had my Warwick Dunn jersey that I've had for 30 years because Warwick went to Catholic, and so naturally, from the time I was a kid, had bought the Warwick Dunn jersey. So I had that, had the headdress, the spear that I used. Get this. So Erica, my wife, she gets. That's
Very
like
well done. Well done.
That's like a broomstick or something. I don't even know what that is. It can't be a broomstick because it was like it's It's heavier than a broomstick. She gets our friends, the Neils, Keith and Danae, gave us the whatever that pole stick is, and then Danae had the feathers, which are little tiny feathers. Not if you ever look at Chief Osceola's actual spear, it's these big long feathers that are affixed with these clamps. I mean, I was looking at it, and I'm like, this is not going to work. So Erica cut out pieces of cardboard and hot glued like thousands of these feathers on both sides and then hot glued them to the pole. That's what that is. Looks pretty good considering. She was doing that at like midnight, Sunday night, Monday morning, for me to be able to pull off this dumb skit. So if you haven't watched Bama is Burning from yesterday, please do. Share it, retweet it, share it on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all over the place. Because, I mean, I dress up like Chief Osceola and got on a horse. Anybody ever done that before? I mean, the craziest stunt that I can remember in radio outside of this was Condon getting tased like 20 years ago. Well, Condon went up to when we were at WIBR, Richard Condon went up to the Baton Rouge Police Academy and let them tase him. So he could, because I think that's part of your police training. Like you have to get tased. And so he went up there and he let them tase him. So
do you remember what that was for? Like he just wanted to do it, or
who knows?
I mean, because that's wild.
I can't remember how it came to be. Someone probably got tased, or someone.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the "Don't Tase Me, Bro." Remember that back in the day? Don't tase me, bro. You have no idea what that is?
I don't know that.
Oh my God! Look up "Don't Tase Me, Bro."
Okay.
Oh man, Muse. Paulie, do you remember "Don't Tase Me, Bro"? Oh no! Look at this.
I don't think I do.
Oh my God! If Twitter existed when "Don't Tase Me, Bro" was a thing, pull up "Don't Tase Me, Bro."
MC Hammer?
No.
Mr. Peabody.
No, it's a video of a guy that got tased, and he's yelling, "Don't tase me, bro." Just go to YouTube and type in "Don't tase me, bro."
Oh, that's what I did.
Oh my God. Anyway, we'll find it. Thanks to all the wonderful people that helped make that a thing. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope Alabama continues to lose, so I have many more opportunities to be creative and make fun of them and hopefully entertain all of you. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Supper Club. Speaking of entertainment, my goodness. You want to talk about having the best meal of your life in the most entertaining environment, the best environment that you'll ever have? Oh, Supper Club. I mean, from the moment you walk in and you recognize those like those red snakeskin walls, the carpet, which they imported, I think, from Holland, if I'm not mistaken, the chandeliers, which I think came from Italy, like every detail at Supper Club is thought of. From how they present everything, like the smoked burn ends appetizer, the fun craft cocktails. They got one that's like in an IV drip bag. I mean, every detail is considered. Like, by the way, the reason they intentionally do not have white tablecloths, because while yes, it's fine dining, they don't want you to come in and feel intimidated. They're not putting like 14 different pieces of bread with 18 different butters and cheeses and sauces on the side. Like, what do I do? Which spoon or fork? They bring French fries to the table. And they're awesome, by the way. But the bottom line is you're going to have the best meal you've ever had, and you're going to have the most fun you could ever have while dining and enjoying the best meal of your life. It's at Supper Club. Football season's here. Get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Chef Layton's also curated an amazing whiskey list. I mean, they've got the Van Winkles, they've got the Full Weller line, they've got the E.H. Taylors, they've got all the Mash Bill 2s, your Blanton, Rock Hill Farms, all of it. They've got it at Supper Club. Go have yourself a night. Remember, you never need a reservation to sit at the bar. Supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're here. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 1. Sean Salisbury in 15 minutes. Very excited to hear Sean's take on Garrett Nussmeier and his day on Saturday. Todd McShay had one of the most complimentary pieces that I've seen so far about Garrett at The Ringer, talking about how this was a quarterback clinic, an elite-level quarterback performance, which is interesting because the 232 passing yards that Nussmeier had on Saturday would have been his lowest passing total a year ago. And even with that passing total being quote-unquote low, he still won SEC Player of the Week, which speaks to just how efficient and awesome Garrett was on Saturday. We'll talk about that with our quarterback, Sean Salisbury, again here in about 15 minutes. Don't you move, it's AFR.
After further review.
This morning, gave myself a couple of injections, BPC 157, NAD+, two things that I take every day. I would so strongly encourage you to learn more. I say it all the time with Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. This is all about feeling like your optimal self. And they can help. You can, look, the name's funny. That's a hook that gets people's attention. Of course, the logo's funny. I get it. And yes, they do ED treatments, not just pills. They do so many different treatments as well. But they offer so much more. Hormone replacement therapy, guys, if you don't even remember what it feels like to have been in your 20s and to go to the gym, get a pump, and feel strong, it's time to get your hormone levels checked. If you don't remember what it feels like to have a libido where you're rolling or when you are wake up in the morning full of energy, time to get your hormone levels checked. YourGoodwood.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
One more teeny-weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Sean Salisbury, about 10 minutes from right now. Brian Kelly met with reporters earlier today. He did say that he acknowledged that at the end of the first half that he would have kicked the field goal. This was the explanation that he gave on Tuesday at his press conference.
Well, the analytics call for a go on the 4th and 2. However, the mistake that I made on that is that we didn't have enough time on the clock to get in 4 plays. So analytics is also looking at how many plays can you get in to make that 4th and 2 worthwhile. Even if we got it, with only one timeout and the time left on the clock, it would not have given us the maximum opportunity on that go. So that was a mistake on my part. We should have kicked the field goal in that situation.
The 4 plays is interesting. Why you would need 4 plays, but I guess that's what he's saying the analytics are. You go for it if you have at least enough time to run 4 plays. But they were at the 12-yard. The fumble was at the 12-yard line. So, I mean, if you get that first down to the 10-yard line, there's plenty of enough time to throw one pass into the end zone, which is what I presumed he was doing. I have no problem with the play they ran. I just have a problem going for it. Take the points, especially now with a defense like you have where you are capable of stopping teams, of playing low-scoring games where points are magnified even more because your defense is so good. Yes, take the points. Hopefully we see that moving forward. All right, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with some action from yesterday in Major and Minor League Baseball. Cole Henry got his 8th hold of the season for the Washington Nationals. Perfect inning from him. Shutout. He's got the ERA back in check after a couple rough outings. Back down to 3.88. It's been a really solid first season for Cole Henry. Trey Morgan yesterday for the Durham Bulls. 1 out of 4 with a walk. It was a single, his one hit. He would also come around to score after getting off to such a scorching hot start. Average has dipped a little bit for Morgan here as he's hanging out in AAA with at 259, I should say. Some action tonight to keep an eye on. Gage Jump is on the bump to start for the Midland Rockhounds. He continues his great season, a 2.97 ERA, 78 strikeouts, and over 72 innings pitched at the AA level this season. Record just 5-5, but he's been really, really good. And then Blake Money, also in AA now with the Chesapeake Bay Sox. He's on the mound to start. 3-4 so far in the year. This will be his 7th start.
We need money. We need a little money. We need to bring that back. We don't look.
All right.
We've been very absent with our minor league pitcher theme songs or player theme songs.
We've been absent with minor league baseball a good bit this year because there's been so many at the pro level. Anyway, Money's going to get his 7th start. He's 3-4 on the year, 72 strikeouts for him. But I think the big story is he's all the way up to AA. And then a night ago, Anissa Morrow, 6-5 in a starting effort for the Connecticut Sun. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Is that about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry? LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Jen said the best. If you're thinking of popping the question, why would you go anywhere else? Lee Michaels has been in business for 4 decades. They sell only the finest diamonds in the world. Scott goes on these buying trips overseas throughout the course of the year to make sure that he brings back the best selection. When you're buying for 10 stores, you have tremendous buying power, meaning he can get you not only great selection, but a great price as well. I say it's like Goldilocks. It's the porridge not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. That's Lee Michaels. It's not the impersonal cookie cutter nature of the big box store. It's not the little boutique jeweler that is too small, doesn't have a great selection, is way too expensive. Lee Michaels is just right. So, you want to meet with one of their associates, you can schedule a time online if you want to do that. Go to lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Wrapping up hour number 2. We're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sean Salisbury is coming back after the top of the hour. Looking forward to talking some QB, NFL, and college with Sean when we come back here and kick off hour number 3 of a Tuesday edition of AFR.
AFR.
School's back in. Parents, if you have not yet brought your kiddos to the eye doctor, if you've not yet had their annual eye exam, when school is back in, it's a great time on the calendar as a reminder to go take your children for their annual eye exam. If you haven't done it yet, do it now. You can call the Williamson Eye Center, any of their 8 locations, Baton Rouge, River Parishes in Lutcher, Denham, Zachary, St. Francisville. They're all over. So they're convenient to you wherever you live. So you can schedule online at williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com, or call 924-2020, 924-2020. And as we always say, if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, they have a refractive procedure available no matter your age or your refractive issue. Just go for that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson and change your life. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com.